Hi, this is Judy from Patterns for Pirates, and I'm here today to talk sizing and fabric choice for the new sweater weather pattern. This pattern has a lot of different choices, so some of the fabric choices I suggest might work better for one option versus another, and I'll talk about that throughout the pattern. I decided to do the sizing and the fabric choice together. I used to do them separately, but your fabric choice really changes the fit of patterns, and so I decided to clump it all together in one video. First, I'm going to hold up some sweater weathers that I've already made and talk about the fabric, fit, and options of each one. This one is one for my daughter. It is an alpaca sweater knit. It's super soft. It's kind of a more plush sweater knit, medium weight. This is the crop option. It says off the shoulder, just like the one that I'm wearing, and the traditional sleeves. Super soft. This sweater knit has really good recovery, so I didn't worry about the neckline. I used the sweater knit for the neckline. I didn't add in clear elastic. I didn't think it needed it because it has good recovery. It's an important thing to think about when you're doing the off the shoulder. You don't want it to keep growing and growing and growing as you sew it and wear it. Okay. Again, this is an alpaca sweater knit. Go to the next sweater knit that I have. This is just a brushed Hacci. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. H-A-C-C-I. This is a really common sweater knit you can find in online shops. It's a little bit lighter weight, but it's a closed weave, so you're not going to have holes in between the netting like an open weave. This is the tunic length, and this is the gathered sleeve. So you'll see the sleeve gathers both at the top of the dolman sleeve and then again at the wrist. It's important that you don't pick anything too thick on this option because it does gather quite a bit, and it's going to be difficult to get through your sewing machine, and it's going to be super poofy if it's a super thick stable fabric. If you want that really overstated sleeve, you can pick something thick and stable. If you don't, you want to go with something with more drape. So as you can see, this one has a nice drape. I'm just going to put it on my mannequin like this because this is a child size and an adult size mannequin, but as you can see, even 2 layers really falls to the body. The band on this pattern also helps it kind of fall towards the body because it gives some weight towards the bottom, and so instead of sticking out, it usually will help it fall down with the weight of the band. Here's another youth one. This is again off the shoulder. This is a double brush poly. Again, super easy to find in online shops. It's very stretchy. It's got great recovery, so I didn't have to worry about the off the shoulder neckline growing. These are the traditional sleeves. This is a pretty thin fabric. No worries with double brush poly. It's probably going to feel a little bit looser in the lighter weight sweater knit and the double brush poly than it would the thicker, more stable fabrics. Here is another option. This is the turtleneck option. It's still a youth size. This is a French terry. This is a tri-blend French terry. So it's got polyester and rayon in it, so it's super soft, it's super drapey. I used the wrong side as the bands, and it's something you really want to think about what the wrong side looks like if you're going to do the belled sleeves. The belled sleeves get rolled so that you see the wrong side. So if you don't like the wrong side of your fabric, you might want to change the construction or you pick a different fabric. I really like fabrics that either you can't really tell a difference on the front and the back, or like this, I really like the back. It's really soft. I recommend choosing something softer for the turtleneck option, especially for youth. You don't want anything too stable or it will start feeling a little constrictive. So this is nice and stretchy to get over the head, and once it's on, it'll feel like they have some breathing room. Again, this is a tri-bone French terry, also very easy to find online shops. The next one is a super trendy option. This is a waffle knit. This is super on trend right now. This is just a regular waffle knit. This is a youth size. It's a size 12, so it's getting close to the adult size. It's a turtleneck option again. Waffle knit is nice and thin. It's not going to feel constrictive on the neck. And then I did the belled sleeves. And on this one you can see, you can't really tell the front and the back on waffle knit. Or if you did, you'd have to come inspect very closely. And I really doubt anybody would come inspect your sleeves that closely that you could tell. So I really like waffle knit for the belled sleeves. It's really nice and drapey for those belled sleeves. It gives a beautiful long drape at your wrist, and you can't tell the difference from the front and the back. It's a good drape on the body. It gives a really nice shape. It's very comfortable and soft. And some waffle knit tends to grow a lot with sewing and wear. Just touching it, it grows and grows and grows. So be very aware of that. If you're going to do the off the shoulder and your waffle knit is, just test out a piece, stretch it, see if it pops back. If it doesn't, you need to be careful with it. You can sew in clear elastic in the shoulder seams to help stabilize those. If you do the off the shoulder, definitely want some clear elastic in the neckline. I didn't add any clear elastic to this one because this particular waffle knit had good recovery. So I didn't need to worry about it. That is something that can be kind of common with waffle knit though, so just to be aware. Here is one that I made myself, so I'm going to pop it on the mannequin all the way. This mannequin isn't my true size, but she's pretty close. So she gives a pretty good idea of fit and size. It's a nice loose pattern. I'm wearing a sweater weather as well. So you can tell there's lots of ease through the body. It's a dropped dolman sleeve. So you're going to have all this excess right here, no matter what size you are. This is the belled sleeve. It's a nice loose sleeve. It's meant to hit a little bit longer than a traditional sleeve as well. Here's the turtleneck. This is a brushed waffle. This was actually our fabric for Pirates January box. I love this fabric. It's super soft. It tends to be a lot more stable than the regular waffle knit. Just brushing it on the one side gives it a lot more stability. And you can tell because this turtleneck is standing up, right? If it was drapey, it would kind of drape down a little bit more like a cowl neck. But this one is going to stand up because it's a more stable fabric. It still has really good stretch. This fabric still has, 50-60% stretch. So it's going to get over my head super easily. The sweater weather turtleneck is not a tight turtleneck at all. I tend to really not like tight turtlenecks. And so this has a lot of breathing room, as you can see even on the mannequin. But a brushed sweater knit is a super fun wintry fabric. The brushed makes it super soft and cozy. And it's really easy to work with because it's a little bit more stable. It is going to stick out a little bit more. It does not have very good drape. So you might want to choose, this is a crop. I don't mind that it sticks out very much. I usually tuck my crops into high-waisted things, and so that solves the problem of it sticking out or tinting out from my chest, my bust. But if that's something that bothers you, you can take that into account and maybe do a longer length so that the bands really help pull it down. I'm gonna go over the one that I'm wearing. This is a ribbed sweater knit. It had terrible recovery, so I put in clear elastic in my neckline, and that's all I put in. I could have done it along the shoulders if I was worried about it, but I actually really love that the sweater will grow and kind of go over my hands throughout the day. I really like loose, slouchy fits. And so I thought as it grew through the day, I would really enjoy it. So the only place that I put clear elastic is on the neckline because I didn't want it falling off my shoulders. It's really important if your fabric doesn't have good recovery to put that clear elastic in as you're sewing the neckband. I usually recommend that you cut your elastic just the exact same length as your neckband and then just sew it right in with your neckband. This is the shirt length. You'll notice the shirt length goes about below the waistband, but not all the way below the booty. This has a lot of soft drape, and so it drapes down here, and the dolman is nice and relaxed when I put my arms down. Everybody has this extra fabric on a dolman, but the more stable the fabric, the more these wrinkles when you put your arm down are gonna stick out. So if that's something that really bothers you, when you do a dolman, you wanna pick something with a really soft drape, like this one. All right, let's dig into the fabrics that I think would work well that I just haven't used yet. This is another French terry, and I just pulled it because it's a reverse French terry. It's something that's a little bit different. That means that the print is on the loop side. Usually the loop side is the one that's touching your skin. And so just like this one, I used the wrong side for my bands, the loop side. The loop side will be the main fabric, and you could always use the wrong side as a coordinate. The only thing that you have to be careful about using a reverse French terry is that because the loops are on the outside, it can snag easily. I have little kids, I wear some jewelry, not much, and my reverse French terry always seems to get snagged. So if you're not very good about being careful with that, reverse French terry might not be your friend. But it looks great, it's super soft, it's a more stable fabric, just like a regular French terry. All right, let's do this. Is another sweater knit I pulled. This is a really soft, like cashmere, but all the sweater knits are basically going to be the same. Sweater knits, you really want to test the recovery. A lot of sweater knits, just like waffle knits, can have really poor recovery, and some can have great recovery. So you never really know when you're ordering online what you're going to get. So what you want to do is take your 4 inches, stretch it out, see your stretch percentage, and then see if it pops back to 4. Stretch it a couple of times. Does it pop back to 4, or does it grow to 6 inches? It's big. Even if it only grows half an inch or under an inch, that's still pretty poor recovery. You're just tugging on it. That lets you know that when you put in the neckband or the cuffs or anything like that, as you're stretching it to fit the neckline and things like that, it's not going to pop back into place. So clear elastic is needed. Other than that, I love sweater knit. It's very versatile. All right, here is another, I guess it's another sweater knit. It's a super, super fluffy one. It's not a Sherpa, but I just pulled this one out because you can do this one in a super fun, fluffy fabric if you have it, and it would be super cozy. There's enough ease in the body and the sleeves that you can get away with doing something super cozy like this. It will feel snugger than if you use a thin, lightweight drapey knit, but if you want it to be bigger and cozier, you can size up when you're using this thicker one. If you like the slimmer fit, use the thicker fabric and don't size up. So cozy. Right, I have one more really stable one. This is a Liverpool. I find Liverpool very warm. It's a polyester base. It's mostly poly with a little bit of spandex. I find it super warm to wear. So I don't like wearing Liverpool anytime besides the winter. I live in Texas where it's often very hot. Even our winters are very mild. And so I can't wear Liverpool anytime other than the winter. But if you wanted those super dramatic sleeves on the gathered sleeves, you wanted them to balloon out and kind of hold their shape and be a dramatic piece, something like Liverpool would work fantastic for that. It's more stable and it kind of holds its shape beautifully. Another one, more fabrics that are similar can be a ponte. Some pontes have rayon in it and it's a little softer. Or a scuba would also kind of be really stable and poof out a little bit more if you wanted that to really be a statement on yours. So I pulled that. Liverpool also has great recovery, so you could use it as a neckband on off the shoulder and things like that. It'll be a little bit boxier fit for sure because it's more stable. It's not going to drape down to your body like this one is. It's going to stick out more like a boxier shirt. All right, these two are super similar. I have a Ribknit here, and it's a super soft, thin, drapey one. It's a rayon blend. This would make a fantastic one. It's going to be really loose and slouchy and definitely fit loose and slouchy. Ribknit is like waffle knit and sweater knit as well, as where most of the time when I order a Ribknit, it's got a pretty ample amount of spandex in it. A lot of times, if it's an older Ribknit, there's not as much spandex in it. So let's say I found a Ribknit from my mom's stash and I loved it and I brought it over. A lot of times it does not have the same qualities as a newer Ribknit does. It just doesn't have as much spandex. So you really want to test the recovery for a Ribknit. They can be have very poor recovery, and so just like the sweater knit or the waffle knit, you can sew this off the shoulder neckline, and even by the time you finish sewing it, cutting it, folding it, pressing it, stretching it to the neckline, it's a few inches bigger than it's supposed to be, which can make a really big difference in an off the shoulder neckline. It can make the difference of a nice loose slouchy to falling off of you. So check that recovery if you're going to use a Ribknit. If it's got a lot of spandex like this one, you're good to go. No changes needed. If it grows a little bit every time you stretch it, use some clear elastic on the neckline, the shoulders, and then you'll be good to go. The last one is another Ribknit. This is called a Yummy Ribknit, and I really love this fabric. It is a poly-based fabric, and usually I find poly-based fabrics, like a double-brushed poly, a warm winter fabric, but for whatever reason, the ribbed just doesn't seem as warm to me. I'm not sure why. But it's called Yummy Ribknit usually, and it's a polyester brushed Ribknit. It is a thinner fabric. I made some cozy pants and cozy wrap out of it that I love. I wear them all the time. I actually made cozy shorts and cozy pants out of this. But this would make a really nice, lovely one. It's going to feel loose and flowy and drapey because it is a thinner, drapier fabric. All right, that's it. That's the end of my pile. I hope that helps you on picking fabric and going for the size that you want based on the fabric that you're using. If you're using a loose, slouchy, thin fabric, you might be able to size down. If you don't want it a loose, slouchy, lots of ease fitting you. If you're using a thicker fabric, you might even want to size up if you don't want to lose the loose, slouchy fit. And I hope that helps with the turtleneck, the off the shoulder, all these things that you need to look for and be aware of. And I hope it helps make a perfect sweater weather for you. Actually, I hope it makes you a whole closet full of great sweater weathers, because there's so many options in this pattern. You can absolutely make a whole big stack of all the different options and different fabric choices paired with it, and no one would ever know you're using the same pattern. So I can't wait to see your sweater weathers. I'm excited to share them. I hope everyone loves them as much as we have. Don't forget to share, tag us, so we can see it and smile along with your make.